What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of GBoo2786 here on my channel, GBoo2786. This is Gavin Richard with Gavin Richard Presents. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you all are doing great. Of course, this is some more experimenting with the screenshots and the recordings right now here on my channel. Now, you guys see the gentleman who is I'm not talking about the dog in the right corner. I'm talking about they got the same grin here. The gentleman here, of course, you know, is former Vice President Joe Biden. This is an article from Black Enterprise magazine, and it states that Cory Booker says Jim Clyburn called Joe Biden an honorary black man. This was on March 12, 2020 by Derek Major. And apparently at a fundraiser earlier this past March, Majority Whip Jim Clyburn referred to Biden as an honorary black man during a recent Congressional Black Caucus meeting. According to the griot, the fundraiser was held at the Detroit Athletic Club and included more than 350 people in attendance, with Booker, who had dropped out of the presidential race in January, has spent several days campaigning for Biden in Rust Belt states after endorsing him on Monday. Clyburn served as Majority Whip from 2007 to 2011 and previously served as the House Assistant Minority Leader from 2011 to 2019. Clyburn endorsed Biden in February and has been campaigning in the South for him ever since. He also advised Biden to pick an African-American female as his running mate, touting Senator Kamala Harris and voting rights activist Stacey Abrams as potential candidates. Now, hold on a second here. Now, I want you to keep that name, Jim Clyburn, in the back of your heads for a minute, okay? And also the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, this next page that you see here, this was taken from yesterday. State Democrats quickly disown Vernon Jones. Now, Vernon Jones is in the Georgia House of Representatives. Vernon Jones is a black Democrat. And on Tuesday, he had, and look at the way the article reads. This is from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, or if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called. They say State Representative Vernon Jones bucked his party, used the word buck, I think intentionally, Tuesday, and endorsed President Donald Trump, making him the first state-elected Democratic official in Georgia to back the Republicans' bid for a second term. The lawmaker drew a backlash from Democrats who accused him of betrayal at a time when state and national figures were rallying around former Vice President Joe Biden. Top House Democrats responded by endorsing Jones as primary challenger, while others cast him as a narcissist. Lone a polarizing figure in Georgia politics, Jones told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that he views Trump as a transformative president whose policies have helped African-American voters, military veterans, and farmers. It's very simple to me, he said. President Trump's handling of the economy, his support for historically black colleges, and his criminal justice initiatives drew me to endorse his campaign, said Jones, who added that he had no immediate plans to switch parties. There are a lot of African Americans who clearly see and appreciate he's doing something that's never been done before. Jones said, when you look at the unemployment rates among black Americans before the pandemic, they were at historical lows. That's just a fact. And of course, the fellow Democratic Party members were not happy about that. For instance, Democrat officials tried to disown Jones on Tuesday. He was a former chief executive of DeKalb County, in Georgia's biggest Democratic stronghold. State Senator Nikema Williams, the chairwoman of the state party, called him an embarrassment who doesn't reflect Georgia values. Never has that been clearer than this moment when he chose to stand with the racist president who has made an all-out assault on black Americans, who has tried to rip away American health care, and who has failed our country in its greatest time of need. Now, we're not sure what's on Vernon's mind. It's antithetical to what he believes in, says State Rep James Beverly of Macon, the chairman of the party's House Caucus. We can't support an ideology that's diametrically opposed to who we are and what we value. State Republicans were overjoyed at the development, which offers Trump's campaign an African-American surrogate who has won the top office in one of Georgia's most populous and left-leaning counties. Trump captured just 16% of the vote in DeKalb in 2016. That's pretty impressive for a Republican. Now, there's a reason why I'm pointing this out, and you can see how PO'd the Democratic Party is to Mr. Jones. Now, I'm not someone that gets upset at someone for how they vote. You know, I used to be like that, where whenever we heard someone was running, when someone was running for president we didn't like, who we thought was gonna hurt us and do all kinds of things to us, and these people endorse and voted, I don't get mad. Excuse me, guys. I don't get mad and waste my time arguing or fighting over what a person decides. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. And being that they're entitled to their own opinion, they can vote how they choose to, even if I don't do or don't like it. That's just the way it is. Now, of course, when you're in politics and you're a politician and you're tied to a party, a lot of people obviously are not going to like it, especially when you go out in public and do that. Now, this man here is Jim Clyburn. He's the one that made those comments earlier, calling Joe Biden, according to Cory Booker, an honorary black man. Now, Mr. Clyburn has been in the House of Representatives since 1992. Since 1992. And from 1992 through 2006, he ran for the same seat with no opposition. In 2008, he defeated the Republican candidate, 68 to 32%. He defeated the Republican candidate in 2010, Jim Pratt, 65 to 34%, 73 to 25% against another Republican candidate, Anthony Kula. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, he's a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, and of course you saw from the Black Enterprise magazine article here, they were talking and indicating how they were trying to do a political fundraiser for Joe Biden. And I looked in between, and I'm navigating between the story with Vernon Jones and Joe Biden and Mr. Representative Jim Clyburn, in the fact that I have to ask, when you couple why Vernon Jones went with an endorsement of Donald Trump, he honestly makes a lot of sense. Now, before you get upset and say, Gavin, how can you support Donald Trump? How you can support that man? Why you do? Listen. All politics and why people vote is that they vote based off of what is in their best interest. Every ethnic group, and I said this at my last broadcast when I was interviewing Sean James and we were talking about the Telecommunications Act, everyone votes within their best interest, and all other ethnic groups outside of black people vote based upon their dollar, based upon their bottom line. They do not vote on fear and on tradition like many of us, or most of us in the African American community, let's just be in general, black Americans are always supposed to vote because this is what our ancestors, the two excuses we get, this is what our ancestors fought for, and Martin Luther King died for this, and, you know, tradition. Well, you know something? Martin Luther King fought for reparations, but these Negroes in the Congressional Black Caucus are not even pushing that. And reason why I highlight Mr. Clyburn here is that I specifically saw a video, and it's out there, of a foundational black American asking Mr. Clyburn about reparations, and he shunned the kid off, and I believe even shoved him away from the video that I saw. Let's see if we can find that, because this is on capture. So yeah, I watch wrestling too, guys, but hold on. Okay. Having a little. I saw the video. I know it was on it was on Twitter, but I was trying to see if it was on YouTube, because it would have been much easier to find. But apparently, man, why is Sinbad looking like Hulk Hogan? The hell is that? Okay. Well, look, I am, shit. Okay, well, be that as it may, I can't find it, guys. I'm sorry about that. But I know it exists because I've seen the video, and I distinctly remember it was Mr. Clyburn, Representative Clyburn, that was confronted by this young man. And I believe, if not Mr. Clyburn shoving him away, I think it was someone who was under Mr. Clyburn that did this. Matter of fact, yeah, you see all WWE stuff here. Hold on a second. I know. Okay, I remember now. It was actually on Brother Phil Scott's show here, which he calls now African Diaspora News. But let's see if we can find it here, because I saw it distinctly. I know he covered it here. Let's see. Here it is.
So you know Representative James Clyburn, the one that Bernie Sanders say he liked his 10-20-30 plan, but that plan at the end of the day doesn't benefit black folks at all. But that's the one that Bernie Sanders liked, and we talked about that. Now, this same guy has been approached by a brother in the community to talk to him about reparations. I want you to hear his response, but let's really have a conversation about reparations based off of what Clyburn is going to say.
If you wait on cash payments to come out of reparations, you're going to wait forever. It's not going to happen. So what you got to do, let me just talk. Don't put that in my face.
Why are you touching me?
Okay, all right. I'm going to leave you alone.
Cut the check. Tell Nancy Pelosi to cut the check.
Yeah.
You do that for me?
She's the treasurer.
Cut the check. Somebody better cut the check.
Well,
reparations are owed, sir.
You talk to the
ADOS. You're not going to run away from this issue, Congressman.
Oh, I'm not trying to run away from it.
It seems like you are. You're walking away right now.
Oh.
Cut the check, Congressman. Cut the check. Okay. ADOS, you're not going to walk away from this, Congressman. ADOS is everywhere. Cut the check.
What happened to you this morning, young man? You didn't get your breakfast on time. What is going on with you? You didn't get your breakfast on time.
I got plenty of breakfast.
Well,
You can tell, right?
Let's talk about it.
All
Let's
right.
do some social work.
So, as expected, Clyburn would say no.
Okay, now I didn't want to play all of that, but you got the gist of where I'm going with this. And shout out to Brother Phil Scott for having this footage, but I knew it existed. This is where I saw it on Twitter first, and then obviously when things they're there, but he had it here, Phil. So shout out to him for that. But you see where I'm going, where these people, you see how out of touch the Democratic Party, and in particular the Congressional Black Caucus, has been with the black community, especially the youth. And the question we have to ask ourselves today is, what the hell have we been doing? And what have they been doing? They've done virtually little of anything to nothing when it comes to specifically black issues. And yes, I know there are other issues that are pending that they deal with. Of course, they want to deal with illegal immigrants, and they want to deal with obviously the Dreamers Act, and they want to deal with LGBTQ, or let's just say climate change, or everything like that. But why is it that those issues get pushed to the forefront, but when it comes to African American issues, either they get commingled in, which is not treated with any respect at all, or they don't get talked about at all? And honestly, it's the latter. It does not get talked about at all. And if you look at even, and I've done commentary about this as well, you look at the Congressman Elijah Cummings, you look at his Twitter page, everything before he died, everything was basically either pro-immigrants or anti-Trump. And I look at Vernon Jones, if you read his statement, he even went on further. He said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. And you know what? Many people are just so, especially the young people, they're dissatisfied with what's going on. People, the elders treat everyone. You saw that video, how that woman even asked that brother, what happened to you, young man? You didn't eat your breakfast? Why don't you do some social work? You see how out of touch the elders are with the community, with the young people. It's always a demeaning way that they talk to you. It's always a putting down of this person that you get, of this person, especially their ideas, that they can that's why a lot of kids aren't voting. That's why they don't even, why they're not listening to you and paying attention in school, because you're not talking to them. You're out of touch with them. I'm not saying that we shouldn't vote, but you know what? I'll be damned if I'm going to have my vote pimped. You're going to earn and work for my vote. And every other minority, I don't care if you talk about Asians, if you talk about Latinos, Mexicans, Jews, they make you work for their vote. Why can't we do it? Why do we always made to vote on tradition? And I don't understand that. Yeah, I understand the history of voting in this country. Don't get me wrong. Yes, in 1914 you had you had the slaughter in the 1800s of blacks that were trying to vote in Louisiana. I believe it was in Opelousas. You also had poll taxes. You had grandfather clause. Everything that was done to keep black people from voting. And even during Reconstruction, we had blacks in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. That's how we were able to get many of those constitutional amendments, the 14th and 15th Amendment, passed. Because they were there. And they knew we were going to be fighting a fight. They knew the battle that we were in. And nowadays, it's treated like it's just a damn trivia show. It's not taken seriously by the CBC. It's not taken seriously by this congressman. You call Joe Biden an honorary black man? Excuse me? The same black man? Hold on, look at the article. It goes further. However, others have pointed to Biden's record showing that he wrote the 1994 crime bill that disproportionately sent African Americans to jail for minor drug offenses. Which they say proves that Biden's words do not reflect his actions. Of course, they go on criticizing Biden about how he treated Anita Hill. And Joe Biden, by the way, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. I got to do this. He has a sexual assault case that is hanging over his head, although it's outside the statute of limitations. Someone has accused him of sexual assault in the early 1990s. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of the Me Too movement because I feel that it is a witch hunt. It really affects disproportionately black men, in particular, straight, heterosexual, African-American men. And, you know, but I'm still I'm in favor of due process, and I do think that a lot of this stuff is manufactured. This is Tara Reid. Yeah, it was against Tara Reid. And you even look at Fox News, Bernie Sanders says sexual assault accusation against Biden is relevant. So this is coming in election 2020. You know, if they did the grab him by the pussy with Trump being effective and Stormy Daniels hanging over his head during the election, but now they're trying to dismiss this with Biden. I've seen articles where they try to defend him. You know, but we're not afforded that same type level of treatment when we're accused. I can understand why this brother, Vernon Jones, you know, I don't necessarily agree with Trump on everything, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But, you know, I think it's funny how you see the Democrats running and basically upset over, and just to stick it to them because they keep taking advantage of the black community and the black vote every year. When I listen to the radio ads, just listen to the radio ads on your hip-hop stations, on your R&B stations. When it's election time, they always play some anonymous music that's scary and basically talking about the Republican candidate and how terrible he's going to be for blacks and what he did in 1964 or 1984, but then do a light video on the Democratic candidate to try and get votes for him. And of course, most of those ads are paid for, and they tell you at the end by the Democratic Party or by someone prominent, part of that in the Democratic Party, part of that commission, or for that campaign, obviously to get you to vote. They spend a lot of money on this, and I know because I've been in media a couple of times. I've been around, you know, the chapter of the Democratic Party in Louisiana, it's particular in Baton Rouge, and I saw what they support. And then, believe me, I've been on the other side too. Been around conservatives. I've seen what they support. So it's all about money. It's all about the drawing. That's why we're continuing to be in the corner pocket. And until we break free, I'm not saying to be vote Republican at all, because they haven't earned our vote either. But what I am saying is, don't let yourself be holed out. Let these people earn it. And apparently, they're losing their minds because this black man vote is endorsing Trump. And say what you want about him, but honestly, we got taken advantage of by our previous president, Barack Obama, because he did very little any African American community as terms of policies that he put in place. His policies were not beneficial towards us as much as they were to middle class white women and LGBTQ. And those are the policies that he pushed more. So he pushed the neo-democratic agenda. You can be mad at me if you want, but that's the truth. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Welcome to another edition of GBoo 2786. Thank y'all for joining this channel. Please subscribe. Please donate to the channel. I'll have all of those links available and a link to the articles. I am out. Good night, and I'll see you next time. Peace.